Well, here we are tonight, Saturday night, the Scizone. Thank you for joining me, wherever you are or whenever you see this. A lot of things in the mail, a lot of things, emails. We'll get to some of those, and you can email me tonight. It's up here on the screen, bill@scizone.com. We'll do that for you. The next thing, and we'll take them that way if you can't get in. People said last week we couldn't get in. Well, we'll get to the telephones a little bit. First, I want to get through some stuff with you. I found a book, and it's sitting here. This was Takeover. You really need to go get this book and read it. It's by Charles Savage. Takeover is what happened to our government. This guy connects the dots with names, dates, times, and places. Now, you say, well, what does all that represent? Well, simply this. For the past, there's like 40% of the people in our country right now who have lived under a Bush, a Clinton, or a Bush. And a lot of political things are in the wind. But it goes way back, and we're going to get into that later on. The economy is, somebody asked me that, they said, please make a prediction of when the housing market's going to go back up. Let me explain something to you. There's nothing wrong with the housing. There is no housing bubble. It is a lending bubble. Because of the corruption in that market and the banksters and everything, they got into a thing, and now you and I, we get to bail them out. That's going to be a part of the topic we'll get to in a little later. Because of what's happened in this book, here's some of the things that have happened to you that while you were asleep at the switch, you didn't see it, didn't hear it. It has not been delegated. It's been legal paper, money, inflation, and yet another infringement on your rights by the government. And it's an ever-growing list of violations. They violated the First Amendment by opening your mail, banning books from Amazon. They violated the Second Amendment by confiscating guns during Katrina. They violated number 4 by conducting warrantless wiretaps. Violated the Fifth and Sixth Amendment by suppressing habeas corpus. And they violated the Eighth Amendment by torturing. And last week, Bush gave himself a pardon that was buried in a bill that they passed. He buried it in there and gave himself and all of his cronies pardons. Because of the way and because of the torture to prisoners of war. Do you think that's going to stand? We'll see. Next thing, if you get this book and you read it, what happened to me after I got it the day before yesterday and I've read it? It's not a quick read. It is, however, very factual. And after I read it, I got mad. I really lost it. Because I saw what I just read to you, all of those things go by the wayside. And if you want to jump in, you can do that. There's a telephone number. I'm convinced we are losing it at a faster rate than we've ever lost anything in the history of our country. And in here, you'll hear and see who did what to who and when. That's important. The when is very important. And who was there when it happened. It's really a rendering you need. Oh, and by the way, all the research material is in the back of it. Fabulous book. It is a must-read. You've got to have it. I was told, and I've been saying this for some time, that we've got they call it a housing crisis. There's plenty of houses. There's no loans. They call it a very bad recession. It's not a recession. It's a depression. A recession is something that you might be able to work your way out of by getting a job or two. Some people, even working 2, 3 jobs now, still can't make it. I don't know about you, but that gets a little strange and a little hard to handle. Maybe we ought to have some help. Well, wait a minute, Bill. You're part of the middle class. You can't have that. We're only going to give help to the banks. We're going to cut your taxes so we can lower the interest rate, and that'll make for easier loans. The answer to it is let the people alone. Let them have their house. Change the paperwork. Give them a loan that they can live with. That's the bank's fault. Now, let me ask you a question. I'd like to hear this from you. Should we bail out, like we did the Silverado, Jeb Bush and all that bunch, once before when the savings and loan situation fell down, had a bad problem, and all of a sudden we had to come to the rescue? Do you think, now that we're in a war costing us billions of untold dollars, do we have the necessary wherewithal to say, well, we'll go ahead and bail you out? Let me ask you this. Who are we bailing out? I want to remind you that the Federal Reserve is no more a government agency than the Federal Express is. I don't know if you knew that or not, but the Federal Reserve is in fact a private corporation that, by the way, has never been audited by anybody, anytime, anywhere in our government. Now, can you get by with that in your business? I think not. We're coming off the greatest lending bubble in the history of this country. And you are going to get a chance to pick up the bill. Tonight, your phone calls, we'd like to have them. We got a phone. Who we got on line 2? Is it some? Who is it? I'm sorry? All right. Laura, you're on the air. Hello? Hold it. There she is. Are you there?
Hi, yes I am.
Yes, you are. Go right ahead, dear.
My question is this. I know Scizone does a lot of scientific stuff, but do you think science and biblical studies and the predictions of the Bible are unique with each other? Some of the predictions they had in the Bible and science, what they're finding out?
Let me tell you a story. I just saw a thing. They have launched a satellite that is measuring not only the size, but the shape of the universe.
Okay.
And it goes back not just from me to you and a few thousand years. This goes back billions of years, back to the Big Bang.
Okay.
Now, if you go back and look historically, what happened, is the Bible a good rendering of it? It's as good as the rest of them because they all have the same rendering. They somehow have the 3 wise men. They somehow have a star constellation at the right place. They all have, now this is across the board, all of them. They all got it. They all got the same story. They just variations of it. Do I think it's true? Well, if everybody's telling the same story, I guess everything is true. The question is, not for me to answer, but does it work for you?
Right.
Does your religion work for you? That religion, as I know it, answers questions for me. Now, it may not answer those questions for you, but if it works and you feel something good about it, then that's all that's necessary.
Well, Bill, the other question I have is this, then. Do you know of any books or any authors that, kind of relate with that topic that I can read on?
I do, but I don't have them on the top of my head, but I will pull them out and I will mention them here on the show for you. How's that?
I appreciate that very much, and I enjoy your show. Thank you very much.
We enjoy having you, Laura. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We'll take a pause in the action right here. Be right back with your phone calls about whatever. By the way, let me explain this. That's what this show is about, is you. Okay, back in the Scizone. Bill Boshear's here till 12 o'clock. The telephone number will be up on the screen. Jump in. It's your turn. Let's go to Tom on line 3. Tom, you're there, sir. Go ahead.
Hello, sir.
How you doing?
All right. I wanted to talk about Hillary, but one other thing I wanted to bring up. A friend of mine, Harold, he wanted to know this for real. This guy thinks that people, like you're on TV land, he thinks you can watch the audience out here. He's always asked that. He says, I think people can see you through the TV.
Absolutely. He's right.
Okay, now that's his question. Now mine is about Hillary. Do you think she's going to be president?
No, I don't.
Well, I think the American people will have her as president, and they deserve her. The people in the United States are really...
If they vote her in, they're going to get more than they bargained for.
Well,
I got
they
news for
deserve
you.
what they get. They deserve Bush. I think they deserve Hillary. The way that the people are acting, about 90% of us, the other 10% are not like us, that your watchers and listeners.
You know what? It runs something closer to this. 40% like her, 40% don't like her, and 20% don't even know she's out there.
And the 10% of us are conspiracy theorists nuts, and I think we're the ones that aren't really nuts, and the rest of them deserve her, and they'll get her.
You know what? The conspiracy nuts rule.
Well, eventually
They certainly
we will.
rock. I mean, they got more going on than the rest of them, at least. You know what the conspiracy nuts do, if they want to call them that? Mm-hmm. They actually think outside the box of reality, and they do what some people try to do, is critical thinking.
Yeah, and the remote viewers like you, from what I understand, the government has their remote viewers.
Yes?
And, well, I think they do deserve her, and they will get her, and she is going to disease this country worse than it's ever been.
All right, brother, I appreciate your call. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
You know, he's got a point. It may not be the biggest point in the world, but he does have a point. She's coming. She's coming. And what I told you last week, you need to go look at Bill Clinton's life. Oh, yeah, it's on Google. It's about 53 minutes, and you'll find out whether or not you want her. Oh, you don't believe it? Oh, okay. I see you shaking your head. Let's go to Thomas on 2. You're on the air, sir.
Hello, Bill Boshear.
How you doing, Thomas?
Just fine. How are you?
Phenomenal. Working on the rest of it.
I'm very interested in what you're talking about tonight.
Well, I'm glad you are. You sound that way.
My mother went through the Great Depression,
Yeah?
and what you were mentioning is correct about the Federal Reserve.
Yes.
People would pay attention to what happened in the Great Depression. Those people literally made mistakes that only an idiot would do.
There are so many parallels. I'm glad you, it's a good question and a good comment. There are so many parallels between 1929 and today, it's almost a mirror effect. It's almost a mirror. And you can go to www.gcnlive.com and you can read it. A guy put it together who is an economist by the name of Robert Kaltner. And he's a co-founder and editor of American Prospect. You've got to read it. It is, and I say you have to read it. You don't have to read it, and many of you won't even take time to go look it up.
I would like to.
You need to. I'm telling you, and you will see what your mother went through at the time she went through it, and you will see how it is affecting our economy tonight.
Have you ever heard of the conclave?
The conclave.
Yes, sir.
In relationship to?
You've heard of New World Order groups like the Illuminati?
Oh, yes, sure.
The conclave is a group. You also mentioned, a woman mentioned the Bible earlier.
Yeah.
That this New World Order group, throughout various nations, including our own, secretly they have civilians and or some government people that they are setting it up to oppress people. The conclave has things such as the Federal Reserve and these people causing events to occur.
Well, of course they
so
are.
they can have control over us.
It's been, I call them the puppet masters, and that makes it easier. Everybody knows what a puppet master is. Big business owns this government. You don't. They let you vote so that you think you're doing something. In fact, you're not accomplishing anything. The fact is they plan on stealing the vote for Hillary. I'm going to tell you that up front. I'm telling you tonight, before 2008, they're going to plan on stealing that election.
I hope she does not get elected.
But you could be hoping further than I am. I mean, I really don't want that woman in. Anyway, I appreciate your call, brother. Thank you.
God bless you.
Got to take care. I don't know who I've got on 3, but you want to take a break or what do you want to do here? And let's go to Ed on 3. You're there, Ed. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I was wondering, since you said that the Federal Reserve Bank is a private corporation, who does make the decisions on how much money is printed and how all this goes out and how the Federal Reserve does report to Congress on percentage rates going out for loans and so forth and so on?
I missed the question there. Go ahead. Ask me again. What would you...
Well, you said that the Federal Reserve Bank
Yes?
is not a part of the federal government.
No, it is a private corporation. As a matter of fact, it's a Delaware corporation.
How much money is printed and how the loan settings are made.
They loan money to bank through what they call a fractional reserve system, and that's why you have fiat money. It's not worth anything. It's money loaned. If they loan the money into existence, they don't. They sell bonds, and it's an indebtment. We have to pay the bonds off to get. They just print anything they want.
So then all the money that we send out of the country isn't worth anything.
That's why you can't give the money away. That's why they're coming back to this country with it and buying. That's why gold went through the roof this week. That's why the speculators are driving gold out of sight. Our money isn't backed by anything.
Well, that's an interesting concept, and I have to agree with your ideas about Hillary.
Okay, brother.
You have a good night.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll go to break, and we'll be right back after this. Don't go away, but your phone lines are open. Get in there. Where's that phone number? What is that phone? Tell me. Hey, we're back. Bill Boshears here in the Scizone with you Saturday night. This is live going into Pal Talk. If you're out there somewhere and you can't get the show or you want to get the show, you can, by the way, see it again. They'll have this program up on Google this week. It'll jump in there and you'll be able to see this show. If you missed part of it, you can see it again. And I'm going to talk to you. Oh, we're going back to the phones. Put that phone line, a number up here. We've got a line open here, a couple lines open, as a matter of fact. Let's go to Dave on line 2. Dave, you're there, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, you're there.
Okay, Mr. Boshears.
No, just Bill. Just Bill. Just Bill.
I was trying to get your input on who you would like to see as far as like the Republicans or the Democrats get into office.
None of them.
Okay.
I'd rather have an independent, and I will vote independent. I will not vote for a Democrat or Republican. They have done nothing but take this country down. They have
I know they're both two sides of a dirty coin.
I beg your pardon?
They're two sides of a dirty coin.
Yes, they are. I always call it the wings of the same bird, a left and a right wing on the same bird. That's what that is. But as far as I'm concerned, they don't offer any change. They don't offer any. They're now saying, well, we might get the troops out of Iraq sometime around 2013. That's when they would be leaving office.
Yeah.
That's a bunch of shuck and jive. By the way, let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
Dave, do you want the troops home tonight?
I believe we need them here.
Is there any reason that you know of as an American citizen why we should have them there in the first place?
I believe this was an ill-conceived operation.
Certainly full of holes like a piece of Swiss cheese.
Yes. Unfortunately, they kind of, to put it mildly, they went in half-cocked.
That's true. I don't know what he was smoking or drinking, but that's exactly what happened.
I was wondering what you thought of Mr. Ron Paul.
I like him.
I've seen that he was, they had him here, I guess, in Cincinnati in northern Kentucky.
Well, I wish I'd known about it. I'd like to have had him on the show with me.
Yeah, he's for Second Amendment rights.
Well, I'm for all of them, and I don't think we, and by the way, you know what, I think we really ought to reinstitute the habeas corpus
Yes, sir.
and enforce the laws we've got.
That's right.
See, anytime a sitting president issues himself a pardon, me thinks there's something stinking.
Well, there's been too many backdoor deals.
Oh, man. In the book I'm telling you about, it'll explain all of that to you, those backdoor deals. Remember, we couldn't have anybody in Cheney's organization, no outsiders, when he was having all that quote-unquote oil meetings, and he was establishing all the oil stuff. See, this is the first time in the history of the government that a sitting president has a guy running his office for him. George Bush hasn't got enough sense coming out of the rain by himself.
Well, I kind of figured that he was basically the guy who's pulling all the strings.
He's pulling all the strings for George, and if he didn't have him, when they went to testify before the 9/11 Commission, see, Cheney's the one who had the plane shot down in Pennsylvania. And all that came up, and they lied and fumbled with it and everything else. That's all brought out in this book. And when they got before 9/11, remember now, the 9/11 Commission, they wouldn't take, it was off the record. What the hell to have a commission if it's off the record? Yeah. Secondly, it was done at the White House, and they would not do it without each other's presence.
I see.
They had to do it together. See, methinks this was all contrived anyway, and of course that's just a conspiracy theory, you understand.
Yeah.
But I still lay it at the doorstep of George Bush. Don't tell me that you were accidentally down in Florida reading a book for a photo op, and 3 days before that your brother calls out the National Guard?
Yeah, there's something not quite right there.
Not quite right. You are so kind to them. Anyway, brother, I appreciate your call. Thank you for being there.
Thank you, sir.
You got it. A little known fact just came in here. Little known fact, Mr. Boshears, are you aware that on 9/11 ham radio operations in New York City and outlying areas reported picking up a home radio beacon emitting from the World Trade Center? I read this information in Time magazine. I believe it's about 2 weeks from the attack. The article said that no time has such a radio transmission ever been picked up or reported by ham operations in the area. How come I have never heard anything more about this interesting little twist? Let me explain that to you, Ronnie. It's called big media being told to sit down. You don't have any media anymore. The only media you've got, if it's not live, don't believe it. If it's not live, forget it. If it's the internet's the only information source you've got now. Think about it. You don't trust your own newspapers. And the late night news, when you get it, is about two guys crashing their cars out on 275. Which brings me to another point. Have you driven your car across 275 from the west to the east? It's like a washboard. Your car is just jumping up and down. It's ridiculous. If that's what they call a new road, I guess I'll have to find another way around it. Maybe you know the same thing. Let's do a break. We'll come right back with more of your phone calls right here. 381-3838. Jump in. It's your show right here in the Scizone. Right back in the phone lines. Let's go to line 3, I think. Caller, you're there. Is this Paul?
Yes.
Paul, go right ahead, sir.
You mentioned some things that I have some maybe insider knowledge on, just talking about Federal Reserve Bank presidents and financial systems.
Sure.
Let me begin by saying that I have sat and talked with the past three presidents of the United States before they were president and met them. Federal Reserve System, you mentioned that they are not audited. Well, they are inspected, but they have two sets of books, and they present whichever set of books that they want, according to who's looking at them. The reason I know this is I served as a sitting head of Federal Reserve Operations District for 2 years. Federal Reserve recruited me. I didn't go to them, and actually straightened up a Federal Reserve District. Reason I kind of throw that out is, you mentioned what the Federal Reserve does. They pay the U.S. Mint to print coins and currency that is not used. Susan B. Anthony, Sacagawea, etc. You, as the taxpayer, got to pay all that.
You get to, that's right.
Second issue, Federal Reserve officers and the Federal Reserve System got a kick out of the past two heads of the Fed ignoring what goes on in their places operationally. In order to spend money and do their budgets, they're all building new buildings that they don't need because they keep getting smaller and they're still paying for their old ones. But it keeps their budgets in place because if they don't spend it, they don't get it the next year. And here's your cute issue. 2.5, 3 years ago, Federal Reserve board members sat tacitly by and watched the operations area of all 12 Federal Reserve District try and make a killing in the stock market, because they do not get compensated like private sector, bankers do with their stock options.
Sure.
So they took it upon themselves to grant IBM a no-bid contract for $400 million. The secondary effect of that was it would move IBM stock through the ceiling, at the same time simultaneously bankrupt Unisys. I stopped that.
Well, I can imagine that you're not popular there.
I sell cars now because I'll never work in that industry again.
Well, would you like to have another job?
Well, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. You get my email and you get in touch with me. You're the kind of guy I'd like to have.
Oh, okay. I can do that. You got your email address.
Email
there.
is bill@scizone.com. There it is on the screen.
Next time it comes up, I'll do that. The other thing is prior to doing that, the reason I wound up at Fed was the reason John McCoy, who is John McCoy is the founder, the son of the founder who ran Bank One. I'm responsible partially for that merger going through to Chase because I got the son of the founder canned. I was the straw that broke the camel's back. Him and had a credit card operation. Decided to get together and do some things.
I remember that.
Legal.
I remember that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm the guy who brought that down.
Oh,
the Federal Reserve, what they tried to do, shifting back to them, was the simple fact that it's illegal for any Federal Reserve officer to have a financial interest in any banking or, like IBM, supplier to any bank.
Sure.
They all took futures options that were leveraged through brother-in-law, cousin-in-law, sister-in-law, in-laws and cousins, and every one of them got bit because instead of that stock multiplying and IBM stock going up with the $400 million contract,
right,
it stayed the same because IBM wasn't aware. Unisys found out, and they blamed me. There's actually somebody in Chicago that gave more details than I was willing to give Unisys, but I was the guy who raised the flag internally with the Fed that I refused to sign. There's 12 guys had to sign off. I was the 1/12th that wouldn't, and it lingered. Had a talk with my boss. He said, you need to do this, was threatened with all kinds of things, which most of them they did do economically. If I didn't do it, Unisys caught wind of it, and you know how long it takes the Federal Reserve to do anything? 2 to 7 years to make a decision.
At least.
Unisys filed suit in federal court about 2 years ago to take him to, because it was a no-bid contract when they found out about it. At 2 o'clock in that afternoon, the same day, Unisys was awarded 7/12, which is 7 of the 12 Federal Reserve districts in the United States. IBM got 5/12. IBM stock did not move, and all those guys caught with their drawers down and leveraged. So, yeah, I'm not real popular.
Let me ask you this. in a quick statement, can you tell me your feelings about derivatives and banking?
They should not be playing with it because what's occurring, and that was the other thing that Bank One got blasted with through their New York banks. You got too many people making a ton of money selling basically day trading, night trading with their software maneuvers. The only problem with doing that is you got a gazillion people in the private and public sitting at home doing it, and they're 2 steps ahead of you as software. They're watching what you're doing and taking advantage of it and killing the public when you think that there's one or two that, this guy made, $20,000 in a month. Think all those people that got clean because the software that they have is 2 generations in back of what the real power brokers are doing. They're playing the people just like, hey, we're going to watch these guys and we're going to watch what they're doing. We can set a move in place, make them go here, and I'll go there and I'll clean up.
What do you think about the Saudis, just a little off the topic, but what do you think about the Saudis trying to buy the stock market?
The Saudis will do anything they can to make a dollar. They don't care who they sell their oil to. They don't care what they send their arms to. They don't care how they make money. I have a friend that used to build airplanes, private for the Saudis. They don't take Learjets, which is they consider what you would consider a used car. They don't take the upper end, Falcons or Citations. They buy new transoceanic Boeings and have them outfitted with gold bidets.
Well, they always need a gold bidet.
And that's just an oil chic. Their government officials have things that are even more.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've earned a spot in my heart, Paul. I'll tell you that. Let's please get me an email, will you please?
I'll do that.
With some contact info. You and I need to talk.
Sounds good.
You got it, my friend. Take care and stay safe.
All right.
We're going to do a break right here, but we'll come right back with more in your phone calls. And I want to get to the moon truth. By the way, I want to give you a website to go to, and I want you to take time to do this. I found out something today that kind of got to me. It's kind of sad. This started back in the assassination of JFK. Remember, I told you a few weeks ago about a movie called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. If you will go to www.rense.com, that's spelled RENSE.com, and scroll down the left side of the paper or the page, you will come to something that says hoax. And you will be sent to YouTube, and it's the first step on the moon. What you will find out in the preceding, if you follow the whole, there's I think about 20 of them, it is a part of the moon walk that you have never seen. Stanley Kubrick, if you remember Kubrick, I guess it's Kubrick, I guess his name, in England. What's his name? Kubrick, or Kubrick or whatever, who did 2001 Space Odyssey. They used his set to do that. Wait till you see it. I want to talk to you. And by the way, there'll be a test here next week. If you don't see it, you've missed it. It's rense.com, RENSE.com, left side of the page, hoax. You'll see it. Trip to the moon, something like that, like on a newspaper. It's there to see. Let's go to line 3 and talk to Bob. Bob, are you there, sir? Hello, line 3. Bob?
Bob, yes, I'm Bob.
Go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, okay. I didn't hear you. Sorry about that. Yeah, you had some very interesting subjects tonight about 9/11. I think, and I think most people think that that's official version is absolutely ridiculous and almost hilarious.
It is. It's laughable if you think about it.
Yeah, and if you want to find out more about the Federal Reserve System, there's a website called realnews247.com.
There sure is. A great site.
And that's fantastic on a lot of subjects, really. So, and Ron Paul is be an excellent choice for president, in my opinion. I think he's got everything.
He's got a lot of good choices. He really does.
Right.
My fear for Ron Paul is this. He's going to come out, people are going to get with him, and then they're going to unleash the dogs on him.
Oh, yeah, I think he will. They don't want him in there.
They don't want him in there. See, he offers a plan, not a platform.
Right.
And these wannabes, I call them wannabes, are too crooked. Hillary's got too many questions to answer. You need to go get and look at that video of Bill Clinton's life.
Yeah.
You won't believe what's going to come out on her in the next few months. As you get close to the election, you're going to hear stories about her right here that you've never heard before.
Yeah.
And we're going to be breaking stories here like you can't believe on that deal. Why? Because we can't stand a Bush, a Clinton, a Bush, and another Clinton. We can't stand it.
No.
The economy cannot handle it. We've lost all of our rights, and they want you as a third-class world citizen working for them.
You're absolutely right.
It's an afterthought that can't be thought. And when you read this book, this takeover, you're going to see what I'm saying and why it's so. You'll see why they have taken over and all of the power has been moved to executive signing orders. They don't have to ask anybody for anything. Bush said, well, the Constitution's another, don't get that GD piece of paper out of my face. He actually called it that and said, don't be telling me about it. I'm doing so and so and so forth. Well,
I'm afraid they have another 9/11 planned, really.
you know what? The people are too smart. They're not going to buy that.
Yeah.
They're too smart. The American public is smart now. The internet took the 9/11 apart. Look how long it took them to do it. If you go to the facts that were not known are now becoming historical landmarks.
Sure.
In investigative reporting, and the film that's come out about the buildings imploding, and the people that are professionally attaching their careers to it, professors and scientists all over the world are saying that didn't happen, that couldn't happen. Anyway,
Well,
man, I
think
appreciate
the whole thing is in order to destroy Israel's enemies, the way it looks to me.
Well, Israel's going to have its own problems, I'm afraid. And I've got some pretty strong feelings about that, but we're going to have to wait and see where that fits in. But anyway, I appreciate your call, Bob. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Join me again anytime. Let's go to, I don't know who's on. There's Randall. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm fine. Going back to the presidential matters,
Yes.
I personally feel do away with the Electoral College.
Altogether.
Let people, yes, let
One vote.
citizens of the United States elect our president.
Exactly.
With total power, total corruption. We know who it is and how to get rid of it.
You got that right. And get rid of the Electoral College, because did you know if they sell their vote, it's nothing more than a misdemeanor?
Exactly.
And there was some people put together an offer to a Electoral College member, and he offered to sell his vote.
Yes, and if we had that done away with, we would be running the country, not the politicians.
Well, I think that
Government for the people and by the people.
I think you're going to get that in years to come.
I hope I'm alive
because a
to
two-party.
realize it.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
I hope I'm alive to realize.
I do too. I hope I am too. I don't think that a two-party system represents the American people any longer.
No, it doesn't.
It represents big corporations. We're living in a fascist state, sir.
Oh, don't we know it?
It is a fascist government, and nobody's willing to call it that.
Right, and just like, for example, here in the state of Kentucky,
Yes, sir.
it's on the law books everywhere, just as a scientist sample, kids, adults, riding in the back of pickup trucks. No seat belts. It's against the law, and it's yet to be enforced.
The way it works, sir.
And it kills people.
It can. It certainly can. Hey, I appreciate your call. Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you.
We're going to break. We'll be right back with your phone calls, 381-3838. Jump in. There's 2 lines open. Get in. I want to talk to you tonight. Now we're back. I guess we'll do it right the first time. We'll get this up sooner or later. I want to appreciate Dangerous Dan and the director man and all the guys in the control room keeping the things up. There's Art, and I can't see all the other dancing girls they got in there, but they're all dancing around in there. More fun than anybody ought to be allowed to have on one clear night. Anyway, let's go strictly to first place out. Let's go to Rose. Rose, you're there, dear.
Oh, hi there. Listen, I just, have you heard, well, our government has a satellite that they use over in Iraq. It was in the newspaper. And our government, or like the police department and so on, wants to have the satellite used in the States. But it's a strong satellite. They think maybe you can see, I'm not sure about the details, but it's possible, I heard that you can see inside people's houses if they think you're a terrorist or whatever.
I don't know about that, but I do know they're using satellites on the ground over there, and I was told that you could spot a flea on a gnat behind there. That's how refined it's become.
So you think they can't see inside people's houses?
I think that's a different thing. It doesn't surprise me. I'm sure they can with the heat-sensitive situations. I'm sure they could do infrared and find out how many people are sleeping in what bed.
Yeah, well, I just hope, that's too much Big Brother, and they can make so many false, so many people could be accused falsely of things.
Why don't you do something about that by voting the bastards that did that to you out?
You talking about who you talking about? Bush?
I don't care who voted for it. Get rid of them.
Yeah, I wish I knew who did vote for it.
Well, all you got to do is go back and look at the voting record. You can do something about it, Rose. I appreciate your call, darling. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to Larry. You're there, Larry.
Hey, how you doing?
Phenomenally well.
Hey, I'm sitting here listening to you talking about how our government is, and it's really a bad government.
Oh.
Our government has lost the cause of the Constitution. And the Constitution says itself that when the government gets to that point, we have a right to overthrow, right?
It does say that. And just move a little further out west and start a new one. That's what I'd like to do.
So you said we really don't have a right then if we can't openly protest against this government, which is...
I'll tell you what, you go out and start protesting and see what happens to you.
I know what's going to happen to me. I'm going to be blackballed.
You not only blackballed, you'll be put in jail for protesting.
Right.
You're some kind of a combatant. And if you think that's bad now, brother, you wait till Hillary Clinton gets in there. I won't have a talk show.
So, hey, can I make one more comment? I've seen your commercial.
Go ahead.
You flashed the a picture of the UFO on there.
Yes.
And I wanted to make a reference to that in the scriptures that speak about Ezekiel, in the book of Ezekiel.
It's called a wheel within a wheel.
Right. But I had a revelation about that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm running out of time, but I would like to hear about it. Give me a call next week. Let's do that.
I will.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Let's go to Annette. Is it you, Annette? Who have I got? They hung up. Caller, who have I got?
You've got Annette.
Hey, Annette, how are you?
Hey, I know you're getting short here. Okay. Following along with the woman's question, Laura, she needs to listen to Shepherd's Chapel, which is on Channel 38, 5 o'clock in the morning till 6. She can tape it from Monday to Friday. This man is immaculate. And he does numerology, which are speaking about the 3. Okay, there's 3 13s. George Sr. is the puppet master. He is a 13th descendant of Queen Victoria. The Windsor family is one of the 13 ruling families, and this fulfills Revelation 13.
Well, you've got the numbers down. I appreciate it. Thank you, dear. I understand that, but I don't know. Caller, who have I got here?
Yes, hi there. This is Robin.
Robin, go right ahead.
Well, I know I've got just a couple of minutes, but you are right on the money tonight. I think that number one, big business is controlling this country.
Yep.
All the companies are ruling it. We don't have a chance. And number two, I do think that we are being watched with the global positioning satellites and everything. That's why all of this came about, to keep an eye on where everyone is.
You got that right. You're right on top of it, kid.
Right.
Thanks for the vigilance and the update. We've got 1 minute left. I don't know who I've got here. Who have I got? Caller?
Yeah, it's me. Charles.
Charles. Go ahead, Charles. I got 1 minute, quickly.
Okay. Everything you've been talking about
Yes, sir.
is a real simple solution for all of it. It's in two parts. One is for the people of this country to repent and become the kind of people that founded this country. The other is about 1,000 miles of rope. Because you don't vote traitors out of office, you hang them.
Attaboy, thank you. Now that we've settled all the political hacks in the country, that's the answer, just hang some bitches. Anyway, every night, wellspring.com, we're there, audio, and in Pal Talk on the internet. Join me every night and around the world. And you can get this every Saturday night right here with me. Join me. We talk about you and the strange parts of it right here in the Scizone. I'm Bill Bocheers. Thanks for being there. We'll do it again next week right here.